E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show. Live streaming now to millions of devices around the world on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook live streaming. Our shows are available video on demand on these channels. And we broadcast daily, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on these channels. On Mondays, Expanding Your Business. Tuesdays, Finding Health Naturally. Wednesdays, Mentoring Our Youth. Thursdays, Pets We Love. And on Fridays, Women in Leadership. Brought to you by our producers and hosts, Jim Grant and Donna Guinois. Along with our host, Beata Severin Reed and Emerson Brantley. Supported by our admin team of Michaela Vidal and Gaia Guinois Balconi Weda. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6minutewebinar.com. Mr. Bill Heinrich's book, a good friend of ours, The 7 Levels of Truth. And let me just share with you a little bit about Mr. Bill's book. This is the cover of it, of course. And this book is to help you. And I like to always share the top line in the back of the book here. This book is for anyone seeking answers, solutions, and success in life. All of us, yours, mine, everybody else's. Our birthright is abundance, love, peace, and joy. The 7 levels of truth will allow you to achieve all of these results in your life. And that says it in a nutshell. And the 6-minute webinar, my goodness gracious, were brought to you by those good people. The 6-minute webinar enables you, in a nutshell, within 6 minutes or less, you'll be able to do an introduction, a body, a close, and a call to action on the one thing that you can do for a person. Think about that. A lot of people, they want to tell them everything they do. If someone is coming to you for a specific problem, all they want to hear is what you can do for that specific problem. They don't care if you can do 40 other things. And the 6-minute webinar requires you to focus in on what the ideal client needs, because that's why we're here. Also, I'm joined today by a good friend of mine, the professional patient, as he is known. I call him the Beard of Knowledge. My good friend and colleague, the professional patient himself, the Beard of Knowledge, Mr. Joel Peterson. How you doing, brother?
Good morning, Jim. I'm doing wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Good to see you. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about some different, mushrooms and products and things like that. And Joel's going to just share with us today some of the things that he does to get his day started. And he will tell you the why he does those things. And there's a lot of information there that could be beneficial to you, because one thing about listening to a person, no matter what the topic is, you want to make sure you listen to someone that's been there, they've done it, they got skin in the game. And at one time, Joel, you were a pretty sick fellow, weren't you?
Yes, I was, Jim. I was 135 pounds and I was dying. And Mom had to move in, feed me by hand, keep me alive. Mm-hmm. And the VA said it was in my head, and I need to quit stressing, and you need to eat more. And according to the labs, I was okay. Mm-hmm. And I think that'd be a great place to start. I've been studying the root cause protocol. And in the root cause protocol, they're showing the differences between real labs and big pharmaceutical labs. And the big pharma labs are what I like to say 30, 40-year labs that were controlled by the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds. And those labs are controlled via, how can we give you a pill to help you? Yeah. That's what the labs are about. So the new
let me interject here if I may.
Definitely.
Yeah, because I understand what Joel is saying there, because throughout my adult life, in my 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, you know, my blood pressure was good. My cholesterol levels was good. And when I say good, I mean 120 something over 68 to 74 blood pressure wise. That's good. And anything under 100 cholesterol, the LDL, the bad cholesterol, is considered good.
Right.
And of course, you folks that follow the show know I had a heart attack on October 29th, 2021, and I had to have open heart surgery and all that, 4 bypasses. But in the hospital, I asked the doctors, I said, was there a test I could have taken that would have alarmed me this? And there wasn't. And folks, you can do the research yourself. UCLA, the medical school of UCLA, put out a document back in 2009 that says 75% of the patients who land in the ER like I did with the heart attack had no previous warning signs. 75%. So, I mean, there is, you know, I understand what Joel is saying there, because, you know, you're going to get lab tests and all that, and they give you a clean bill of health, and then you wind up in the ER with a heart attack. You find out the hard way that what you thought was your safety net had a big hole in it when you fell. That's what happened to me. So I didn't want to cut you off there, but I wanted to, you know, share that because it's common. A lot of people go to the doctors and they get tests and all that, and they don't have a definitive answer. And that's the whole thing.
That's perfect, Jim. And that even leads us into why I do the mushrooms and why I do the powdered foods, powdered vegetables, powdered fruits. Because Dr. Forsyth is here in Reno, Nevada. And Dr. Forsyth, he has a 72% success rate with stage 4 cancer patients. He does what's known as insulin potentiated therapy, IPT. And insulin potentiated therapy, what he does is he takes a needle and he puts insulin in the needle and he shoots it to the tumor. And so he mixes it with radiation, because we know that cancer eats sugar. So he attaches the radiation to the insulin and shoots the tumor. And he's got, so I am, in essence, I believe, with my morning protocol, fighting cancer, fighting disease, fighting mycotoxins, toxicants, and toxins, and what do you call those? Microbes.
Yeah.
I forget the term.
Yeah.
I'll think of it soon.
And microorganisms?
No, it's it's the little worms that are in the body. The worms.
Oh, yeah.
Ivermectin kills it, actually.
Yeah.
I'll think of it as we come. So that's why I do what I do with real salt, real vegetable, because vegetable powders and fruit powders and mushroom powders, they're stabilized. So you can buy a bag like this and it'll last you. You can see that it says 915. So I've had this bag since September 15th and I still have full. So I only do a 1/4 teaspoon out of each bag. And
now let's stop right there. Now on the pick up that first bag had 915 on it. Okay. And that product is what?
It's Navitas, and it's maca, reishi, and ashwagandha.
Reishi is the red mushroom, right?
Yes, reishi is probably one of the top mushrooms that most people know about. It helps with cancer. It helps with stress. It helps with. It's really powerful.
And you take a teaspoon of that a day?
Quarter teaspoon, yes, a day.
Okay. How do you use it? Do you sprinkle it on your food? Do you put it in your coffee, or do you put it in your water? Or
Yes, I have a 20-ounce coffee cup right here,
mm-hmm.
and I grind my coffee in the morning, and I do
Mm-hmm.
1 tablespoon of coffee beans in the morning. I don't do a lot of coffee. I don't do a lot of caffeine per se, but I do
Yeah.
just enough that I believe that it's healthy for you. I believe that it, helps clean out your system.
Oh yeah.
And in the morning, I also stir my water. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I believe is known as structured water. This is Analema, architect of life. And
Uh-huh.
Analema is a wand. It literally is a wand. We're getting into, and what you do is you stir your water, and this structures your water. It's what we call the fourth phase of water.
Mm.
And when I'm stirring my water, I blow into my water and I thank my water. I'm talking with my water. I kid you not. And I believe this is all part of the biophoton and the energetic
Mm-hmm.
field and the stuff that,
Yeah.
Angel talks about and everything.
Oh
And
yeah.
so,
Yeah. I remember back in the 70s that there was people that giggled and laughed because they were ignorant, because people would talk to their plants or people would play music for their plants.
right.
And I've got a cat behind me. I'm trying to get her out of the way. So if it looks like I'm doing something,
Right.
Dixie, I she's got a mind of her own, girl. Anyway, but as the time went on, it was proven. The
Yeah.
vibration, the energy vibration, is something that we know very, very little about. We
Agreed.
recognize that a lot of people do, but as far as understanding it, ladies and gentlemen, most people, including your host, yours truly, I don't have a clue how that
Right.
energy works. I know it's out there. I mean, it's just it's kind of like a lot of you folks may remember this. There was a little meter that we used to have in the lab.
Mm,
That was fun. And I've
right.
often thought, wonder, hey, this may be a good listen up for some of you inventors out there.
Mm.
The solar industry, and I'm going to get just off of topic here for about 30 seconds. The solar energy that you see out there, it's got all these panels on the roof, and I hate those things. Those things are as ugly as a wart on your roof, okay? But here's the idea. It's called a radiometer. Spell it like radio, radio, and then put the word meter behind it, but it's pronounced radiometer. What this thing was, it's a little vacuum glass bowl, and it had a little stem right up in the middle, and it had these 4 flags on it. On one side, the flag was black, the other side was white. And it really operated off of heat more so than sunlight, because when the heat would hit the black, it would heat up faster than the white and it would cause in the vacuum for it to spin. Now, my point being, think about how electricity was generated, by water wheels and all that. If they could get some of these little units in there just spinning like crazy, and they could, I really think it could generate some energy there. But the reason I went there was that we can understand. We were kids. We could understand. Wow, the light hits it, it speeds up. But we didn't know it was from the heat, that the energy that the light produced, and this energy is all around us. It took me. Bill Heinrich very
Yeah.
well. And when Bill told me we're nothing but a bunch of vibrations, I'll admit I didn't get it the first time. Now I thought, when he said it, what came to my mind is how smart I am, Joel. I know some people when they think they're vibrating, but they're on a different wavelength than the rest of us.
Right.
But you were
No.
talking about the energy there in talking with your water. And that product you just held up, that's just a wand. There's no liquid in it or anything like that. It's just a wand.
Actually, it has water inside the glass vial. As you can see, it's a glass vial. And let me turn it upside down. See, there's the bubble.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
For air.
Yeah.
So yeah, and every week you have to put this in the sun for 2 minutes to charge it. And I actually lay it on the ground. So I ground it.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah.
And it's structured and Alpha Vedic. There's a lady, I should have wrote her name down. Alpha Veda. There's a lady that proved this with water Petri dishes. And what she did was she took these Petri dishes and she set them on pictures, and she would yell or cuss at the water and it was all messed up. Or she would love the water and it would give you a beautiful picture of what it was sitting on top. So the water actually had a memory to imprint a picture. It was pretty powerful. Dr. Emoto was the Japanese guy that proved all that. So
that makes sense, because when you think about energy, it just came to me. It makes perfect sense. When you think about energy, if you're walking into a store and you see a person come out that you don't know, and if you just make eye contact and you smile, say, good morning, and they smile back, you've transmitted positive energy to them, and they're going to transmit that positive energy on.
Correct.
On the other side of the coin, if I don't know Joel, and I'm going to look at him here just for a moment, and I'm not for a moment, I'm just going to look at him to say this, and Joel's coming out of a store, and I'm going in, and I look at him, and I go like, I mean, how did that affect Joel? I just dumped a lot of negative energy on him. And see, we're told what we reap, we're going to sow. It's going to come back around. People call it karma. You can call it anything you want to, but one thing is coming. That freight train is coming down the track, so you better watch out. You can't run from it. Amen. And it makes perfect sense that when she would, discharge negative energy on that, as opposed to loving energy. Well, I gotta find out more about that, because it makes perfect sense. It really does.
It does.
And what was the name again? You know the lady or not? I mean, the name of the lady?
Yeah, I'll get the name. She's part of the Alpha Vedic community on Telegram. I can't remember her name. Doggone it! I should have been ready for this.
You say her name was Doggone It? I know some people named Doggone It.
I'll get there.
That's cool. But how long ago was this study done, would you say?
I think she did it in the last couple of years. And what she was doing was she learned about Dr. Emoto. Dr. Emoto is the Japanese doctor that he was the first person to yell at water. He gave it harmonic music, and he showed the structure of water through like a micro. What do you call those scopes that look really small?
Oh yeah,
microscope. Yeah, and it was pretty powerful. So that's where Dr. Pollack got into the fourth phase of water. And according to Dr. Pollack, the fourth phase of water is where it's at. And water mixed with oxygen, we believe, is what cellularly is what heals the body. So when you can get the proper amount of water and oxygen into the body, you fix your cells. And the root cause protocol, their whole thing is the proper ratio between iron, copper, and magnesium is everything. I was into humic acid and fulvic acid. And I was into two different types of copper. And we believe there's a old copper and a new copper. And the new copper is a negative ion charged copper. And supposedly this copper can get into the body. And when you have the proper ratio of copper, this allows for magnesium to be reserved and stayed in the body. And so keeping the magnesium in the body is what allows you to sleep. And it's got like over 3,000 connections to the body cells. So magnesium looks to be one of the most important vitamins that we need for survival.
I've got a good friend up in Amarillo, and he's real big into fulvic and humic acid, and Dr. Norbert Chadisi. And I've got to get you guys hooked up because Dr. Dixie is just being crazy today. I mean, she's like a squirrel without a cage. Evidently, this human servant of hers did not do something right, and she's not happy with me.
Right.
Imagine that. But because the humic and the fulvic acid, that helps turn your body to about a 9 pH.
Exactly.
And once you do that, cancer and disease and things like that, they cannot exist in that environment.
Agree.
Yeah, it's got to be they got to have an acidy type of environment for it to thrive, and that makes perfect sense about water and oxygen, because that is the two things that you got to have. When you're in a hospital, they give you a saline solution, but your oxygen and your blood, that makes perfect sense. Folks, you're going to have to share this show with others, because this is why I call him the Beard of Knowledge. I I borrowed that term from Pawn Stars, Rick, because I like that show.
Right.
And they're good guys. I really do. They're fun to watch.
Right.
Yeah, they're really comical. But there was a time, and I'm going to jump back just a second here. There was a time when you didn't have all that beard, did you? And you didn't have much hair, did you?
Oh, I actually, this was right here. All this was gone. This was totally empty. I had a big old huge bald spot. I couldn't grow a beard for the life of me. I couldn't even grow a mustache. And now we're learning that beards are extensions of your energetic field. So each one of these strands actually can receive inputs. And they did a test with special forces. I kid you not. And what they did was they had special forces who were clean cut. They cut off all their hair, cut off everything. They were completely bald.
Oh, yeah.
And then they brought people in to attack them. And the people that came in and attacked them got really close to them. It was danger close, as we say in the military.
Yeah.
People that had their hair and the people that had their beard, they were able to detect people almost like a quarter mile. It was absolutely mind blowing.
Wow.
Absolutely mind blowing. They literally did this for a reason. So I've kept the beard because part of my empath and part of my doing God's work and part of being a healer is being able to listen to people when they bring in information to me. I have this it's not weird. I have this ability to figure out how they're sick. Yeah. And it's difficult, even with the doctors. The doctors are going through a lot right now. And so that's why I was talking to you about all these doctors that are next door to us right now. They're all stressed out. Yeah.
It's it's kind of like there's a vibration.
Yeah.
That your beard is kind of like an antenna. Would that be a fair statement, accurate statement?
Agree.
And so they would pick up something, whereas if you're clean cut and all that, I have never heard of that before. And it kind of makes sense. How long ago did they do that in the military? Do you know? Do you remember? Was it?
No, I'll have to ask Paul too. Paul is one of my business mentors. He's now mentoring Dr. Clearfield too. He's one of the smartest men I've ever known. He's the one, and I'll try to find that study. Actually, the real study, and
that would be really cool because that way I know some guys who love their beards and their wives just, you know, there, you know, I mean, I have sideburns. And I
Right,
know you
right.
can't see them too well because I'm gray, and when I first grew my sideburns back, what happened was that I wore them in the 70s. And when I was got in the reserves and all that, I had, could come off and all. And then I went out to Tombstone, Arizona. And there in Tombstone, I know some of the guys out there that, the actors and all. And it was one of the guys there, a good friend of mine. He's no longer with us. Um, Wes Flowers. Wes, he was a quick draw guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he could shoot a gun faster than you could blink your eye. And anyway, he says, "Hey, Jim, what up to your sideburns, man?" I said, "I don't know. I just never have grown them back after I retired." So I started growing them back. This was like about 2010 or 12, something like that. I don't know.
Wow.
Or 2008. It's been a long time. And I remember when I first grew them back, of course, no one had these, Elvis Presley type, mutton chops, and
Right.
some of the men, you guys out there, we're terrible. Let's be honest. Let's own it. I mean, I went to church, and of course, all the guys up there I'm good friends with and all that. And here's two grown guys. I kid you not. They're standing there, and it's like a flashback of two little bitty boys on the schoolyard making fun at one of their friends because they're looking at me and they're giggling, going like this and all that. And I was kind of like, it just really struck me funny because these guys looked like they were in the third, fourth, or fifth grade, acting like school kids. It was kind of like a flashback. And then he says, one of them says, "What are you trying to do? Impersonate Elvis?" I says, "No, I'm trying to cut back on my expenses, so I'm conserving on razor blades, but not shaving up there." I mean, you come at me sideways. You ask me a dumb question. Don't expect an intelligent answer because it's not going to happen. But guys, why are we like that? You ladies know what we're like. We're dumber than a box of rocks. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
You ever seen that?
There's
a picture.
Go ahead.
I'm just going to say there's a picture that I sent out to my friends, and you can see it on the internet. It's a dog. It's not. You can actually buy this thing. It's a dog, and it's standing by a pool of water. And the dog has got his right rear leg cocked up, and the stream of water is coming out into the pool. And I thought, I'd like that. That's why us guys, we need supervision when we, you ladies know that. You give us you give us a lot of slack in our chain. We're going to do something dumb. We're just guys. And anyway, we were talking about the energy. Before I got off on that, we were talking about the energy and how that energy, that vibration, whatever you want to call it, because everything in the universe is expanding exponentially, and it takes energy to do that. And
and this links to emotion.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Many have said, Tony Robbins included, have said that emotion is energy in motion. So your emotional reactions to things or your emotional stability is based on your energy. And your energy is your health. Your energy is everything. Your energy is your movement. So part of that root cause protocol is stabilizing your energy and getting out in the sun.
Yeah.
Making sure that you move, whether it's walking or exercise. Dr. Or he's actually a physician assistant, Stephen Hartman. He's a professional. I'd like to get him on your show. He's a professional tennis player. He believes resistant exercise is key so that we can put our energy into our bones. This is where it starts to get structural. This is where you need to drive the energy into the bones, into the body. So that's where resistant exercise. So even if you just do some push-ups, or even if you just go against a tree and you lean against a tree and you do some push-ups, or you get down and you do those crunches, that's where you're starting to do what they call resistant training. You don't have to go to a gym, but you have to do resistant training. And I recently just purchased armbands. So I'm going to start exercising with armbands.
Yeah. A little resistance is always good, because one thing I've always disliked, ladies and gentlemen, is that when, these macho guys say, no pain, no gain. Well, if your body is issuing pain, that's a warning sign. It's a signal. Hey, I can't keep up with George over there or your buddy Einstein over here. I mean, I need a little break. But one of the things that I've learned how to do that really helps me, and this is a nicety to know for folks, I have an inversion board that I use from time to time.
Okay.
And I need to use it more often. Now, I do not, and I warn you, do not hang upside down like a bat. In other words, your feet's at 12 and your head is at 6.
Right.
That is too much pressure on the little capillaries in the eyes, too much blood pressure on them. You could damage your eyes. But what I do, they have these, it has the adjustment on it, and at 40%, you're about like this. Right. Now, what I like to do with mine, I like to listen to tunes, and it's got the big, handlebars there where you can pull yourself up. And I'll put my hands there and I'll go back and forth and I will rock, and you will feel your inners come up.
Wow.
Because gravity has pulled you down. And ladies, forgive me, but it will also help improve the stool being the fecal material being released from your body, because it's not jammed up so much. Think about that. And you don't need a inversion board. You can actually do that with a little slant. There's a slant. And, just make sure you're not hanging like this, because that is just too much pressure on your eyes. It really is.
And that makes me think about the bed also. I don't know if any of you out there are experiencing heartburn. To help with the heartburn, you can put a 2-inch or a 4-inch, usually, or it depends, on your bed. And so you keep your bed at a little bit of a level so that you're not laying flat, where the esophageal reflux comes back, and that gives you the heartburn. Oh. So if you lay it just a little bit of length, keeps the heartburn down.
Mm-hmm. So you'd be raising at an angle from the head and shoulders down, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
And
that makes sense.
The reason that people are usually experiencing heartburn is bad food, bad liquids, possible alcohol, all the above.
Yeah.
Caffeine, too much caffeine.
Yeah. I remember when I came home from the hospital after having the surgery and all, I couldn't lay flat. And fortunately, we had a bed there. Get the brand of it anyway. It's like a hospital bed. It can raise it up, the head, and you can raise up the foot and all that. And I just elevate it a little bit, just a couple of 3 inches, and then I could, rest well. But as far as laying flat on my back in a normal bed, no way, Jose. So if you know anybody out there that's going to have open heart surgery, check into either getting a little styrofoam wedge type of deal for them, because they won't be able to lay flat. It's too uncomfortable. The chest is so sensitive. I'll tell you how sensitive the chest is. The week after I was home, I'm laying on my back, and I normally lay with my hands sometimes across my chest.
Right.
And I went to sleep. I was sleeping so good, but it woke me up, because the weight of my hands resting on my chest was too much pressure on that 8-inch incision in my chest.
Wow.
That's how sensitive it is. And so anyway, that's a great idea there, because a lot of people I know do suffer from things like that from heartburn and stuff. And you might want to give that a try because look at it like this. There's no side effects from that one.
No.
That's what I like to do.
It's technically free.
And Joel, we had some slides here. You want to talk about some of the things because you use these products, right?
Correct.
Yeah, this is not a commercial for these products or anything like this. This is just Joel talking about this is what Joel does to enhance his life. So let's go ahead and let's pull up one of the products here. And we'll pull up Mambo number 5 here.
These are your,
okay.
This is your mushrooms. The master blend that you see in the middle is a blend of everything that you see and then some. Turkey tail, if you go into each one, it says like chaga says healthy agent, immune health. The couple of the countries that really do chaga, they live longer than a lot of us here in America. Turkey tail, as you can see, is for liver, kidney, immune system, and your gut. Reishi is probably one of the most known adaptogens, known stress relievers, known cancer cure. I mean, it's all the above. It's super powerful. Lion's mane and cordyceps, they're more for energy and your thought process and endurance, so forth. So, I do a 1/4 teaspoon of each. So that way I'm not overloading my kidneys. I don't do a lot. And so as you'll see in the other slide, one of my coffees is with mushrooms and my other coffee is with the fruits and the vegetables. And I also throw in, I also throw in 2 tablespoons of real butter, the highest fat butter I can consume. And it's, of course, organic, pasture-raised butter. Everything I eat or drink is as organic and non-GMO as possible. And pasture-raised. Oh, yeah. Eggs are pasture-raised. We even have a restaurant in here that has local eggs. Really, really powerful restaurant. And the same. And then I do, let me grab C8. I do C8 coconut oil, which is a certain propylic acid. It's some people call it the bulletproof coffee, but I believe that coconut oil has antifungal, antimicrobial, antibacterial properties, which cleans us out a little bit each and every single day. So that way I get in saturated fats right off the bat, first thing in the morning.
Oh, yeah. You know, when you were talking about that, there's something that came to my mind. A lot of you folks out there may, coffee, for example. I like my coffee in the morning.
Amen.
And I had to get another coffee pot. So in the process of getting one, I got out the old percolator, which works great. Wow. And I put the coffee in there. I'm talking old school now.
Right.
And I've got one that's electric, and I've got one that's just put on the stove, you know. But I took the one that was electric. And I thought, man, this is going to be great. I'm going to smell coffee in the air. And I'm going, it's not there. Coffee doesn't smell like that anymore. And here's another clincher. You walk into a flower shop, or you pick up a rose and sniff it, it don't smell like a rose. Yeah. I went in and I bought some flowers, trying to get myself out of some deep kimchi. But, I did. I bought some flowers for a special occasion. And I says, are these live flowers? Oh, yes, sir. Well, they don't have any type of a flower smell because you used to walk into a flower shop and you could smell the flowers. What's going on here? Is this all this genetically altering stuff or what? Because the flowers don't smell like flowers anymore. You brew coffee, it doesn't smell like brewed coffee because that's one of the things that I always love. And I've often said, if you could get coffee to taste the way it smelled when it's, the percolator popping up and down, oh, goodness gracious. Oh, wouldn't that be the cat's meow? But really, what's going on with that? Do you have any idea? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, we're not going too far deep down the rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
The food industry, Department of Agriculture, they're right up there with big pharma. They're right
Yeah,
up there
yeah,
with big banks,
yeah.
and they see
That doesn't
profits
surprise
and
me.
they see
Mm-hmm.
money. They don't see
Yeah,
health. They're not in
yeah,
this for health, and it's
yeah.
just
And
it's
let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. When you're looking for good natural products, remember one thing: it's just human nature up one side and down the other. There are companies out there that will always say, "Hey, profit is more important to us than people."
yeah,
So, in other words, don't buy the cheapest thinking you're getting the same type of quality. Chances are you probably aren't. You may, but chances are you're not. So, and all the products that you buy, make sure you buy from a reputable source. People that have been in business, people are proud to be in business, people that are proud that they don't have to apologize for their
yeah.
products. That's very, very critical because cheapest in the long run, as the old saying goes, never is the least expensive.
You
Yeah.
know, Celtic. This is the Celtic sea salt that I buy.
Yeah. Let's
If
talk
you
about that.
you can't really see it in the bag, but the salt crystals are actually sticking to the bag because there's still moisture in here. And
Mm.
this stuff's been certified to have well over, I think, 70 minerals in it. It's not just
Mm.
sodium. Sodium, table salt is just sodium. And the first
Yeah.
thing you do
Yeah.
when you go in, I've talked to you about it. First thing you do when you go into a hospital is they give you a saline bag. So we now realize that you need to have salt every single day,
Yeah.
but you need to have real salt. It's absolutely, I believe,
Yeah.
well, salt and oxygen is how energy and your cells communicate and connect. So when
Yeah.
you're low
Yeah.
on your oxygen and you're low
Yeah.
on your water and you're low on your salt, you can't
Mm.
absorb the copper, you can't absorb the magnesium, and your iron
Yeah.
is way out of, and they don't even test iron the right way. So getting back to what you were saying about the
Oh.
labs, the people that I follow, they figured this stuff out. That's why you have the
Mm.
root cause protocols. That's why you have different doctors who do different things. And those who are in the know do their best to keep that in balance. It's
Mhm.
absolutely pivotal to life. And that's how you
Oh,
fight cancer.
yeah. Yeah. That makes perfect sense because I remember experiment we and I was let me rephrase. I was trying to remember an experiment we did in junior high, and we had our teacher. Uh, he was a bachelor, and he was a nice fella, and he was. I wouldn't say he was odd. That's not fair to him, but he was unique. Okay, he
Okay.
walked to the beat of his own drum.
Amen.
And we understood as teenagers,
Yeah.
we understood why he was a bachelor. No woman would put up with that stuff. But
Right.
that's just the way he was. But he was a super nice guy. He, in his own deep way, highly intelligent. And I remember we did something with nails,
Mm.
and we had a tea plate, and he mixed had it in water and put salt in there, and it created electricity. He was, he wasn't a mad scientist or anything like that. That's not fair to him. He was a super
Right.
nice
Right.
guy. He just, what interested him, no lady would find interesting, but that was his world. That was his calling in life,
Amen.
and he loved it, and he made an impression on us boys. Yeah, he really did because one of the things I remember about Mr. Thrift was that he always says, you know, if you believe in something, don't apologize for it. I don't remember his exact words, but it was along those lines. And we kind of like, wow. You know, don't be afraid to make a stand for what you believe in. That's what he told us. And that was so true. But when you're talking about the water and the salt and all that, that flew in my mind. Kind of like, wow, it did generate electricity. I know all it was just metal. Now we did have some wires hooked up to it, but nothing was plugged into the wall.
No.
We didn't even have a battery.
Right.
It was just, and this is how you do it, boys. He's fixing it up there. And well, he was happy as a pig at slop time doing that stuff. I mean, that's what turned him on,
Wow.
And we were just kind of like, sitting back, but there's something to, let's get back on target here. There's something to the water and the salt that creates energy in our body, and the good sea salt. Because we picked up sea salt, and I'm thinking sea salt, but sea salt may not be sea salt, huh? Or it could be a version of it.
Yes, exactly. Well, there's certain sea salts that now we're getting into chemtrails and contrails. Chemtrails are chemical trails. Contrails are condensation trails. So now we're starting to get into the spraying that Bill Gates and level people are doing, which we now know is true. It is happening. So that stuff has been falling onto our earth and our oceans. So it's mixed in there. These guys, they do their salt the old fashioned way. And what they do is they trap the ocean water and they leave it out exposed to the sun. So the sun is what separates and dehydrates the salt enough so that they can package it. So they do it the old-fashioned way. Other sea salt, they refine it so that they can make more money off of the process.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. Like, once again, it's about money. These guys, though, this is a family business. They've been in business since 1976.
And they're known as who? Celtic sea salt?
Yep.
Where are they out of?
Oh, that's a good question. North Carolina?
Hey, that's my home state. I'm a Tar Heeler from way back.
Is it? Yeah, it looks like North Carolina. Wow.
Yeah.
I never even
What town is it?
It doesn't. Arden, North Carolina. Yeah,
ARDEN.
Celtic. Yeah, they got their own drive. They're 4 Celtic Drive, Arden, North Carolina. Wow.
I'd be doggone. I have to, reach out to them. And that's amazing because, when you talk about the chemtrails, a lot of people have blown it off and all that. But I can honestly tell you, ladies and gentlemen, living out here in the country, I have seen planes, not recently, but, I've seen planes come over, flying over the property here. Of course, they're up high. They're not, they're not crop dusting my property. But my point being is that I see them coming over, and you see these 2 big barrels of smoke behind them, just trails. And honest to goodness, I raised my hand. I declare to the good Lord in heaven, I'm telling the truth. Me and my wife are out there, and all of a sudden it just shuts off and the planes keeps going. Just like a crop duster. Like a crop duster. When a crop duster comes down, they open up the valves there, and the whatever they're dusting for comes out. And then when they get ready to go back up in the air and they don't want to, they'll shut it off and then make their circle. Same thing. I've seen that. I've seen it more than once, a couple of times. So so it makes sense that all that stuff, and this also raises a concern that I've had with organic growers. What did they do about the acid rain that falls on their crops?
Yeah,
on the fields.
That's why I do what I do, Jim. That's why I do the mushrooms. That's why I do the vegetable powders. That's why I do the fruit powders. That's why I do the fats. That's why I do what I do, the salt. Because I think all of us are fighting a massive amount of poisoning and chemicals, toxicants, and you have to be able to get rid of that. And I regularly go to the bathroom every single day. My process seems to work for me. And now getting into this root cause protocol, I'm starting to get away from synthetic vitamins and minerals.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm now trying to switch. Well, I'm switching to whole foods and minerals and vitamins that come from the foods. But there's still a couple of vitamins and minerals that come from whole foods. There's companies out there that make magnesium from whole food. So there's whole food.
Sure. Yeah. I've often said from a basic point of view, our bodies are organic. We know that. And when we put something synthetic in our bodies cannot process synthetic material. And I'm speaking very basic, very, kindergarten level here. But because our bodies is a processing center, not a recycling center. And that's why I too like to stay away from all kind of unnatural, synthetic, man-made things, because, that's another, it's kind of like a workload on your body. You give your body something, and then they got to have the cells and the energy in there has got to have a power. Okay, what do we do with this? I've never seen that stuff before. I mean, you got any ideas over there how we can get rid of this junk? And I'm being a little ridiculous, I know, but when it comes to our bodies, and I'll say this, those folks out there that think they're doing great things, I feel sorry for them, because there's going to be a day of reckoning that's coming, because everything that you put out, energy wise, good or bad, that freight train is coming back. And one day it's going to, you got to count for that. Amen. And that's true in everything. I mean, if I'm mean to someone, I'm going to be held accountable for that. And that's a very fair system. Yeah. And that's why I tell people we need to look at each other like we're all brothers and sisters by different mothers, because that's exactly who we are. We may have different beliefs. We certainly have different ideas and customs and all that. Some of us were, some of you people out there are cityfied. You grew up in the city. And I'm just an old dumb country boy, an old hick. But through it all, the love and energy that we should have for one another, that should bridge all kind of gaps. We should say, yeah, okay, Jim is different, so what? Can you imagine how boring this world would be if we were all the same and thought the same? Oh my goodness gracious. What would we talk about? Right. I mean, wouldn't have any fun to, to tease your, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole, but anyway. Right. Just think even all your in-laws and outlaws would like you, Right. But Joel, I tell you, this has been an eye-opening type of interview that we've had. I don't like to call it an interview. It's really a visit, because we go back quite a ways, and, we're military brothers. And even though you served in the Marine Corps and I served in the Army, we're brothers in uniform, and we're brothers by different mothers in real life. And to be able to share some of the things we did with others today, my goodness gracious, we're almost out of time, but it's just an honor and a privilege that we're here. And Joel, I think I've got your, I've got your email address up there. And And the VA, ladies and gentlemen, the Veterans Administration, has really made some great strides in coming to knowledge.
Agreed.
Because at one time, if you went to a chiropractor and you were talking to a doctor with the VA, they would look at you like you went over to some pagan type belief or something. I mean, they did not recognize chiropractic care as being, anything. They didn't even recognize as being professional, did they, Joel?
No, they didn't. And now actually the VA has, some VAs actually have chiropractors and acupuncturists in their facilities.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in acupuncturists, because if you're living with pain, at least get an interview. Go over and get an appointment get an interview with an acupuncturist and also a chiropractic, because acupuncture does an amazing thing. And I have felt that energy with chiropractic. I mean, with acupuncture, excuse me, because they put those needles in there and certain little pins. They don't hurt. It's kind of like a little gnat bite or something. It's not going to make your toenails grow through your socks, but laying there, I can feel that energy, the circuitry in my body. I'm like, wow. Well, brother, our time is all gone. We better get out of here. They're going to send us another bill for some more soccer quarters here.
Right.
But ladies and gentlemen, we hope that we've shared some great information with you. And we just want to thank you for tuning in. And most importantly, share the show with others. And please get in touch with Joy. You may hear Dixie in the background. She's hollering at me. She says, you should have been off 5 minutes ago. But anyway, we want to thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure and get in touch with Joel. The Beard of Knowledge there, it is email address. That's his phone number. That's his cell phone number, 775-384-7063, because Joel also helps people. And you're also on the suicide watch, aren't you?
Correct.
Yeah. And there's a lot of
what they call assist certified. So I can, the police officers can get a hold of me to talk someone down. Save them.
That's very, very critical.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk some more about this topic here, because we didn't cover everything, but also we're going to talk a little bit more of how important hormones are in the body to be able to balance. And PTSD is not just in your head. Most of it's in your gut.
Amen.
And so anyway, Joel, thank you again. Give you a chance to wave goodbye and say goodbye to everybody out there in TV land, and appreciate you, brother. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next time. Be sure and take care of yourself.